It's my great pleasure to welcome Alan Copeland here, who's travelled here from Canberra. Alan is the Manager of Resources for the Australian Bureau of Resources and Energy Economics, and has made some great presentations previously at conferences, and particularly on the LNG day here a couple of days ago. Anyway, welcome to Flame Television for a little chatter over about LNG in Australia. And perhaps the first question I'd like to ask you is that the growth of LNG exports from Australia has certainly been a major discussion point at the conference, as you know. And I was just wondering whether the construction of these projects is moving ahead as planned, because I read in some press reports that there'll be some delays. Have you got any updates on that?
Well, firstly, thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's a real pleasure.
Great.
Most certainly within Australia, they've with 7 projects under construction and an additional project that's at a commissioning phase. There's certainly a very large task ahead.
Absolutely, yes.
There's a lot of capital being expended, some $180 billion worth.
Wow.
And as I said, it's a big task. But these projects are being undertaken by some of the largest and most experienced petroleum companies in the world. There's really a who's who out there. They've done extensive due diligence and feasibility on these projects, and you would expect that companies of that reputation and experience would know what they're doing, and to date they all say that they're on time.
But there have been some delays. For example, the Pluto project is, I think it's 1 year's delay, isn't it? So, could we see a repetition of those problems?
Look, the Pluto project has had a number of different timelines set for it, and it is scheduled to deliver its first cargo any day now.
That's great news.
Having originally been scheduled to deliver it earlier than the second quarter of 2012. As I said, all of the projects, the proponents say they're on schedule, but of course these are projects that run for 5 years, and they're certainly very challenging individually, and of course when you put 7 of them together at the one time, it'll be interesting to see how those do unfold.
But there are also some technological challenges, aren't there? Because we're talking about some located on the east coast, near Gladstone, which is of course unconventional gas, which has never been used before as a feedstock. So that must add some complexity, doesn't it?
I guess that's one of the highlights for the project build that's going on at the moment. We've got 3 different types of gas production processes that are being fed into the trains. We've got the conventional offshore style that are being used for Wheatstone and Gorgon, Pluto and Ichthys. Shell is building the world's first floating LNG project through its Prelude project, so that's very exciting, a technology that's been much talked about. And then of course in Queensland we've got 3 projects going to be based on coal seam gas, and the use of coal seam gas for LNG is going to be quite different to a conventional offshore project, because you've got to drill literally thousands and thousands of wells to generate the gas to put through the liquefaction plant.
There's certainly going to be some huge learnings, aren't there? Some of your labour will be quite sought after they've built all these, won't they?
Well, there is. Any time you do something new, I would suggest that you do learn plenty of things.
Absolutely,
and
right.
I'd say for a lot of these projects where they are doing things for the first time, many people within the industry and I guess outside of the industry would be very interested to see how they go.
Well, that actually brings me on to my next question, because and that is, what is about the future growth of LNG? Because Australia is potentially going to face some considerable competition from new projects in East Africa and potentially the US, of course. And I really wondered how Australia is going to kind of compete with this kind of new competition.
There certainly are. There certainly are a number of competitors out there, and at the conference today we've heard a lot about North America and potentially the shale gas exports, and of course the Sabine Pass project with its approvals is
that's great news today at the conference. It was going to be announced.
The Regulatory Commission approved that. I think one of the things to note from the Australian perspective is that a lot of the projects that are being built at the moment, Gorgon, Wheatstone, Pluto, Ichthys and the Queensland projects all have the potential, the land footprint to construct additional trains.
Yeah, of course.
And so when these project proponents think about building the 4th or 5th train at Gorgon, the 3rd or 4th, 5th train at Wheatstone and so forth, there are opportunities to take advantage of footprints that are in place. Infrastructure will have already been laid down for the initial trains. There'll be workforces and other support services that have been built up through this current construction process. And so that provides a benefit and hopefully a lower cost associated with expanding projects that already have initial trains in place.
So Australian projects will therefore have that competitive advantage as well with the skills we talked about earlier on.
That's right, and I suppose one of the other advantages of Australia is its location to the growing Asian market, and Australia, for a long period of time has been an attractive place to invest, and I expect that will remain the case for the foreseeable future.
We're just looking to the European arena because you're a relative outsider to Europe, of course, travelling here from down under, and you've sat in on the conference yesterday and today, and I was just wondering whether you have any comments or kind of any insights as a relative outsider to our business which could be of interest.
I guess one of the really fascinating things about the European industry is the way that the pricing structures are moving, and one of the most talked about topics is will the link between oil, or will the pricing break away from oil linkages be broken, and I guess that's an important factor within the Asian Pacific market, given that even today the contracts that are being signed with Japanese and Korean and Chinese customers are still oil linked. I guess people within the Asian market will certainly be watching developments in the European market to see how that unfolds, and what similarities there may be between Europe and the Asian market that may hold for the future.
So hence your reason for coming to Amsterdam today to the Flame Conference.
Well, there's many reasons to have come to the conference, but it's certainly very interesting. Pricing is always an important part of any industry, and the more you can understand and learn about pricing, I think the better off you are.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Do come back again next year because we want an update on the Australian projects.
As long as we keep building these projects, it'd be my pleasure to come back and update.
Excellent. Cheers, mate. Thank you,
very much.
Cheers. Bye.